The man had come for an interview for a job with an annual salary of a full $1 million, but his clothes were dirty. His face was stained with paint. The interviewers were shocked, and the company boss was disgusted by the sight. But the man didn't apologize. He honestly replied, "Last night I was detained for not paying a traffic fine, so I didn't have time to change." The boss became even more irritated. He taunted, "What would you say if a man came to an interview without a shirt and I offered him the job?" The man smiled and replied, "Well, then his pants must be very nice." The boss laughed at his witty reply, and instantly he got the interview. But the real battle had begun. The company's rules were very strict. Only 1 out of 20 interns would get a full-time job, and there would be no salary until then. Now the question was how he would support his family. After much deliberation, he didn't give up. The very next day, he started his internship, arriving at the office first thing every day. He would finish a 9-hour day in just 6 so he could pick up his son from school. The manager would send him on odd jobs every day, sometimes to fetch coffee, sometimes to run errands, but he never complained. Then things took a turn for the worse. He and his son were evicted from their home due to inability to pay the rent. They now had nowhere to live. That night, they took refuge in a public bathroom. The father spread tissues on the floor so his son could sleep a little more comfortably. Suddenly, someone knocked on the door. The man blocked the door with his foot, covering his son's ears and sitting silently. Everything he had endured so far was shattered that night. He cried silently in the darkness, but he refused to give up. During the day, he worked tirelessly, and at night, he would stand in line with his son for a place in a shelter. When his son fell asleep, he would sit in the dim light from the window, repairing machines and reading books. To make ends meet, he started selling blood. He and his son somehow managed to survive on that meager income. One day, he called a big client. The client said, "Be at my office in 20 minutes." He immediately set off, but on the way, he encountered his troublesome manager, who asked him to park the car first. By the time he finished everything, the secretary said, "Sir, the client had already left." He was disappointed, but he didn't give up. On the weekend, he took his son to the client's house and apologized. The client was a little surprised. Then he said, "Let's watch a match together." The client didn't offer any deals, but introduced him to several other clients. Then came the last day of his internship. The manager called him to the office. He was nervous, so he joked, "I'm wearing a shirt today. After all, it's the last day." The manager smiled and said, "Wear it tomorrow too, okay? Because tomorrow is your first day." The man, always quick to respond, couldn't say anything at that moment. He just widened his eyes and kept shaking his head. He tried hard to hold back tears, but they still flashed across his face when they shook hands. His hard work and struggle had finally paid off. He left the company, clapped for himself, and smiled tearfully down the crowded street. Hard work always pays off. Have you ever seen your father cry like that? If so, you're a truly bad person.